All right. It has been quite some time since I've done a little training video. You guys up. I guess you've seen me a couple of times, but not in like a training video context. But I let the holidays get to me on my diet. I haven't been like the avid, committed bodybuilder that I really want to be, and I fucked up on that part during the holidays. And you live and you learn. I immediately go obese mode, but I definitely have gained some weight that I really didn't want to put on. But you live and you learn. Training's been great though, so that's always a plus. Diet's still the same, training's still the same, just day in, day out doing the bodybuilding thing, just checking the boxes, getting back, I would let myself like get a little loose on my diet leading up to the holidays, and then that just led into me binging way too much that I shouldn't have off plan. And it's just I'm the kind of person that if I'm not like 100% on the plan, it's like I can't be on the plan. It's like if I'm going to cheat, I'm going to go all in. There's no like balance. And that's just something I'm going to have to learn to be better about in the future. But besides all the diet talk, really, like I said, with training and everything, everything's pretty much exactly the same. Today's gonna be my push or my chest focus push session that I'm gonna take you guys through, talk you through the workouts, give you some tips and all that kind of stuff. So session as always with our flies, and a good point that I want to make with flies, I guess, but with exercises in general and how you want to like progressively overload, whether you're in an off season or in a phase or whatever phase you're in, is standardize your execution. I think a lot of guys, when it comes to progressive overload, and I fall victim to this as well. This is something I've really been harping myself, is like standardize how you execute every single lift first, and then prioritize progressing it. Don't start shortening your reps. You don't start not locking out. You standardize each rep so you can accurately progress each week. So like, let's say this week you squatted or you benched 225 and you did it with like perfect form. You went down, got full depth, full stretch, whatever. And then the next week you put on 245 and you go try and progress it, but your reps and your reps, the execution is horrible, but you got the same amount of reps. You're like, oh, I jumped 20 pounds. Well, it's like, well, if you would have done it the way that you did it last week, you wouldn't have progressed because you just wouldn't have progressed because you cheated the reps and everything. So when it comes to progressive overload and really trying to like drive the most stimulus to your muscle, be sure that you standardize your execution first. The second thing is exercises. Like, let's say that you have set, like, you want to do 15 to 20 reps or whatever that may be. And let's say, like, for me, I did 40 pounds for 20 reps last week. So the way that I would progress that is I would want to add weight to that. And then that would probably land me somewhere at the beginning of my prescribed rep range, which is 15 to 20. And then what you do is, let's say I go to 50 now. And what I'll do is I'll work each week until I get that 50 pounds up to 20 with that standardized execution, and then I will up the weight again. The execution first, max out your rep range, and then go from there. Big note with your exercises and things that I see a lot of people do within the gym, I've fallen victim to this as well, is like over exaggerated eccentrics. So that means like the negative portion, or for example, like on a fly like this motion, is a lot of people will think that the slower that they do this, the more they're working the muscle or the more like hypertrophy they're going to induce. But that can actually lead to increased muscle damage, which is not, I know you hear like you have to break down a muscle for it to grow, which is true to an extent, but you don't want increased and over exaggerated muscle damage. And that's what really slow and uncalled forly slow eccentrics do, is they give you a over-induced muscle damage, and that's not what you want to grow. You want a good constant rep pace that will give you the best hypertrophic stimulus to your muscle or whatever. Bunch of scientific words. Basically, don't be an idiot and go like on your flies or like on a bicep curl. Don't be like just like a good slow, like a good controlled motion, like a piston. You want to be just up and down, up and down. You don't want to be super, what's the word? Not neurotic, but super weird on the negative, and you don't want to hold and squeeze for 1,000 seconds. You want to be just one good constant motion thing. That's one thing I can tell. I'm just growing so much better than before, obviously because I'm doing it a lot more, but it's my chest and all my upper body, because like before, I'm sure y'all remember, I was doing fucking 4 leg days a week because that was the only priority that me and my coach had, was just putting a little bit of size on my legs. And now that I'm hitting upper body more than like twice per week, every single upper movement that I have, I'm progressing on every single lift right now, just with food and everything. I think the pump I have in my chest right now is like absolutely ridiculous. And before, like I would hit chest like what? It would be lower, chest, rest, lower, back, rest. So it'd be like chest every like fucking 9 days. And now I'm hitting a little bit of chest and a little bit of every upper body muscle group every like 2 or 3 days. So all my upper body movements and like pumps and all kind of stuff are so much better than they were before in my old split. But moving up from flies, we'll go to our first pressing movement, which is going to be this converging machine press. We'll run. My coach had me doing top set back off, but I found that doing like a top set and then 2 back off sets of about 12 to like 15, 16 reps has been working really good for me, because I don't really get like a lot of direct chest work. So this is like for today, this is the only pressing, like the pressing movement that I do strictly for my chest. So I like throwing in an extra set here. I've been making really good progress on this machine the past couple of weeks. Like I've jumped like 10 or 15 pounds and a rep or 2 like every single week that I've done this session. So what I'm really been trying to focus on with my overhead presses and really anything that has to do with my shoulder is, about a year ago I had a really bad issue that I got looked at by a PT, and I had like some really bad scapular winging. Like when if you look up scapular winging, it looks fucking weird. Like your shoulder blades are literally like popping out of your skin, and I had that issue last year. I got it addressed and I did like the exercises for it and corrected it, but then I quit doing them like an idiot, and now I've been really working on getting that work back on, and it's because of what I believe is a underactive serratus anterior. So what that means is this little muscle, there's like a muscle back here, you can look it up on Google or whatever. It's underactive, and then I have the PT I went to actually diagnosed me with this. I have an overactive right trap. So all of my pressing, rowing, any movement that has to do with like shoulder movement and like retraction, protraction, extension, flexion, all those kinds of things, it gets messed up because that muscle is not like doing its fucking job. So I've been doing some there's like an exercise that I've been doing a lot of where I just like rotate my arm, and doing this lengthens the trap and actually activates this serratus anterior, I believe, and just raising my arm and doing like this. Like you can try right now, like do this and just do it like 10 or 15 times, and you'll start to feel that lat and that serratus kind of start to fire. And all that being said, one thing I've been trying to really focus on with my overhead presses is to really like externally, I think I'm saying this right, externally rotating and really getting under the weight, instead of a lot of guys, and I mean I'll say a lot of guys and myself as well, is when they press, they kind of feel like it's almost like they're pressing against these handles, like they're pressing outwards kind of. And that's what I've fallen victim to. Whenever I start to do that kind of motion just to get the weight up, my back starts to arch, and then I start to not actually really be putting as much force on the delts whenever you're arching your back like that, or you're not pressing straight up and the joints aren't stacked like that. You're going to start working other muscle groups, and like in an overhead press, it's not really what you're wanting to do. So one thing that I've been really noting with myself on these, from a putting the right tension on the muscle aspect and just to keep me healthy and safe aspect, is really focusing on just keeping my back neutral for the whole movement and not arching my back to get those last few reps. Because that's where a lot of people mess up on, is they get to those last like 3 or 4 reps and then their back starts to look like a C, and then they're arching, and then they're just doing everything they can to get the weight up. And then at that point, you've kind of just fucked the set. You've kind of just ruined the set at that point. So if you can just focus on keeping a neutral back, or at least that's what I've been doing, it's going to be a lot more beneficial. You're going to get more work on the target muscle that you're trying to work, and you're going to keep yourself a little bit safer. So just really working on just thinking about pressing straight up instead of pressing against the handles and out. You're going to be trying to get your elbows really under the force, under the weight, and you're pressing up. And then when you get those last few reps, you're not arching your back to get the weight up. Trying to keep your back as neutral as you can. You're not going to be able to do as much weight, obviously, but if you're putting that weight toward the target muscle, it doesn't really fucking matter. You know, we're not trying to be powerlifters around here. We're trying to build muscle, so it doesn't matter how much weight you're lifting. Just be sure you're doing the lift correctly, all that kind of stuff. With that machine overhead press, we're gonna move into some more delt work, some more shoulder work with these cable laterals. And man, I'm so glad that coach put these back in my program, because like, yeah, dumbbell laterals are good and all, but you can get a little wonky with your form. And yes, like the tension at the top of a dumbbell lateral will always be superior to any kind of other lateral raise you do. But with these, you can just get locked in and you can't cheat the reps, and it just feels so good. And I've also changed up my positioning a little bit. So when you have the bench more like this, like I don't know why, but when you have it more set up, more of a higher incline, I feel a lot more on my delts, and it feels a lot more like you're just doing a standing dumbbell raise, but you just have the brace there to support you. So I'm gonna run 3 sets here, about 15 to 20 reps, and then that'll be all of our shoulder work for this session. A lot of you guys that are watching this, or a lot of people in general, are going to be looking to make some kind of fitness goal, some kind of health goal, like build their physique, whatever it may be. And in 2026, now more than ever, there's more information out there than it's almost a bad thing, like information overload. Like I get in bad loops of that, as I'll try and learn so much that it's like I have so many options that I don't ever end up taking any action, or I don't do anything. But when it comes to looking for advice for like whether it be bodybuilding, health, fitness, and who to trust, first of all, look at that person's work of art, whether it be their physique, whether it be their client base, whether it be whatever. It's hard. It's also hard making that statement, because there could be some young 22-year-old who's really stupid and is a horrible coach and gets horrible advice, but they're lean and they have abs because they're 20 fucking years old, and then they give you horrible advice, or you try to listen to them and it's just not applicable. So people that I recommend listening to when it comes to, I'm gonna speak for bodybuilding specifically, because that's kind of what I've nerded out about. People like Justin Compton, people like Chris Tuttle, John Jewett, the whole J3U realm, people in that circle space, people like Kuba Chellin, people like Joe Gann that I can think of off the top of my head, and just look for people that are similar to them in that aspect, that have lots of experience. Like those are just the people that I listen to. Like if I'm gonna be looking for advice for anybody for bodybuilding, it's gonna be someone that has a lot of experience and has the body of work, has done the thing that I want to do, and is in the position that I want to be in. That's the person that I'm going to listen to. If the person that you're listening to is just has a good physique or just has a big following, that's a big issue that a lot of people run into. Is like people think that following, like a follower amount or followers on Instagram equals knowledge or equals I should trust them, when that couldn't be further from the truth, because followers is just a fucking like it needs literally nothing when it comes to like genuine knowledge and like the want to help you as well. And it's like you have to also look for that within people. It's like obviously if you're just watching their social media, it doesn't matter. But if you're looking for coaching, if you're looking to reach out for coaching, you need to find someone that actually just cares about you and like wants to help you. Because within anything in life, and especially like within the fitness space and social media, there's just a lot of people that just want your money or just want your follow, and it's pretty easy to read that kind of person. At least it is for me. But if you can find someone that has the body of work and has the genuine like gives a fuck about you kind of personality, then you found the right person for you. If you're looking for advice, don't listen to everything that you see on social media. Take it as that's the way or the highway, because there's so much information on social media now that it's overwhelming for some. Like if I were to be starting bodybuilding or whatever now, or like working out now, I would not know what to do, because I'm the kind of person that like I hear one thing and unfortunately I'm like, okay, that must be the way. And whenever I first started working out, like 2022, it was like hard style, Ziz, let's get shredded, brah. And everyone was pretty positive. Like no one really hated on each other. And then it flash forward to 2026, and it just seems like, from what people say, I don't really get this on my social media, because like obviously what you consume the most is what's going to get recommended to you, and I just don't consume that kind of shit. Like if I see any kind of like floating head video talking shittily about someone else on social media, I'm gonna swipe and I'm not gonna watch it. But it just seems like, we flash forward to 2026 and it's like negativity. Everyone's calling each other out because everyone wants to be like the person that's right. And in 2022, like when I first started working out, it was just like everybody wanted to be shredded and just go to the gym and do whatever. And now it's like a big fight, but that's a discussion for another day. But just if you have some kind of like health goal or a fitness goal this next year, do yourself a favor and really research who you're listening to and who's giving you the advice before you like apply it to whatever you're doing, and take it and think it's the right way or whatever it is. Once I drop my ego on these close grip presses, guillotine press, whatever you want to call it, these feel really good. So I think you guys give these a try. Like completely leave your ego at the door when you do these, and really focus on getting a good stretch all the way down, and a good controlled positive through this. These feel really good. It's almost like when you lay down, it's almost like, I think it's hard to explain it in words, but it's almost like imagine you're like, it's like imagine if your body was flipped up. It's like you're pressing down pretty much. It's almost like a press down motion, kind of like if you were doing like a cable rope push down, but it's like you have a bar, and it's like a completely different way of doing it. But this has really helped me with my triceps, and I felt these a lot more once I like dropped the weight and just quit trying to like drop the weight and get it up, just like really control it. Make sure I'm going all the way, almost all the way down to my chest. And then, like I said, almost imagining like it's a rope push down kind of motion. Like that's how your elbows should look when you're doing this. It's almost like you're doing like a rope push down. These feel really good. So give these a try on your next push day, or maybe you could use it as like a main compound movement in like an arm day or something like that. absolute fat ass right now. Been a fan of, once I get done with all my like allocated or like my original program, I've been throwing in like 2 or 3 sets of just cable flies. I don't count the reps, I don't count the weight, I don't log it or anything, just some extra chest volume. And I felt this has helped my chest a lot. Like just some weeks I'll do dumbbell flies. Today I'm feeling like doing just a couple sets of cable flies just to really finish off the chest, because the fatigue monster is gonna get me. I don't really care. I will do anything it takes to be in the gym a little bit longer, so I don't gotta go. I don't have to return back to reality, they say. No, I do get like that sometimes. I'll like get in here, I'll finish my session, and I'll look around and be like, what's some kind of new exercise I can invent, just so I don't have to go home and back to reality. But no, I'm done yet, but I'm gonna knock out about 2 or 3 sets here, do some triceps, and then get my cardio wrapped up, get home and eat, wind down. I think I made a post about this a few weeks ago on my Instagram. It's like, with your training, I think a good approach that you should all have is like the yin and yang symbol. You know, there's a little bit of like the black and the white, and then there's a little bit of white and the black, whatever. You need a good balance. And I think when it comes to training, you need like a good balance of like science-based principles, or like evidence-based principles, where it's like, yes, you need to work within like a 6 to 20 rep range for hypertrophy. Yes, you need to take all your sets or most of your sets to muscular failure to like induce the most hypertrophic response, whatever. Okay. And then like that little bit of black within that white needs to be like bro science, where it's like, shit, this gives me a really good pump, I'm gonna do it. And then that could be all the reason you need to do it. And I think having a good balance of the two will keep you sane in the gym and keep it fun for you. Because like me, for example, I went through a period where a lot of my training was like just, I really focused on like the science-based best approach. And it's like, that may be good, that may look good on paper, but did I enjoy that? I don't think I did. Now, when I started to throw in a little bit more like full send sets and what I would call like mental health sets, where you just take it all the way, and you obviously don't want to like mess up form and stuff like that, but you take it there. Having a good mix of the two, I think, is something that a lot of guys are missing, and they just want like the most evidence-based, science-backed optimal sets, when it's like sometimes you need to put like a little bit of, just have some oomph sets. I think I was listening to the One Rep podcast. Joseph Purcher said this a couple podcasts ago, and he was like, you need to just like put a little like oomph in it, like put a little. I made a post about that a while ago, where it's like that like locker room energy into your sets, instead of just being so controlled and so meticulous with every little movement you make. It's like just put a little fucking like oomph, put a little mustard into it. So like having like I keep referring back to that yin and yang thing, like have a little bit of meathead within the science base, and then have a little bit of science base within the meathead, and just mesh that together. To work, like this is a quote this is a way I put it a long time ago. It's like, I want to work and grind as hard in the gym, like effort-wise, as Dorian Yates, as my coach, Justin Wyatt. But I also want to be as meticulous and as smart with it as like, not saying that those guys aren't, but as like meticulous and nerdy about it as like John Jewett is, or Kuba, or people like that. It's like you want to be a mix of the both. You don't just want to be a meathead, but you also don't just want to be a dweeb either. So it's like finding a good balance is huge. believe that is going to put, oh my God, it's like a smoker. I believe that's going to put a wrap on this session for today. Pretty good pump. I'm not going to lie, my shoulders, chest, triceps are all very, very pumped. So if you want to see more training content, like just me raw training, giving some tips here and there and stuff like that, let me know. I don't really training. I'm sure you've heard it before from other people in the space, but training is like my mental deload space for the day. So like if I have to get in here and video, it kind of bothers me a little bit because I'd rather just come in here and just be fully focused on the session. But if that's more of stuff that y'all want to see, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, that's gonna put a wrap on the session. Just one more piece of advice. I've given a lot of like pieces of advice, but another one for the new year is don't think that your goal has to be really, there's gotta be change every single week or like new this every single week. Like for me, in my bulk and in my prep and everything, the less that I can change and the less changes that we have to make while still making progress, the better. A lot of people want like diet changes or exercise changes or cardio changes or this or that changes every single week, when it's like if you can make progress without changing variables, that will make your life so much less stressful. So going into your new year, if you implement a new diet and you implement a new workout routine, whatever it may be, and you start losing weight, don't change it every single week. Run that program, run that diet, run that workout program, whatever it may be, until it doesn't work. Does that make sense? If you're wanting to gain weight, right? If you're gaining weight every single week, you're gaining strength every single week, just keep it the same. There's no point in changing it if it's not broken. You go into the next week, you don't gain as much weight, okay, maybe you start to troubleshoot and look to maybe add a little bit more food, a little bit more this, a little bit more that, whatever. But don't get like the golden, what's the word? Like the golden treat thought process of like wanting something new every single week. Just if something's working, ride it out until it doesn't. So if you have some kind of new goal this next year and you lose 2 pounds this week, okay, whatever you did last week, do it again. Check your weight again the next week. Oh, you lost another 2 pounds. Why change anything? So just don't change it until you have to, essentially. That will make your life a lot less stressful, making it where you don't have to make as many decisions and all that kind of stuff. So that's one piece of advice I have for you if you have some kind of like fitness goal going into the new year. But with all that being said, I'm gonna wrap the video up here. I'm gonna go knock out my 20 minutes of post-workout cardio, and then I'm gonna get home, munch down on my fish and rice, and wind down for the day. I hope you guys enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. I've also got 2 new sponsors. One being Biomist Labs, is a US based peptide company that I'm going to be using going forward into the future for preps, off season, and all that kind of stuff. Code Maddox will get you 25% off until January 2nd. And then I also have my new code up with Nutrix, which is MADX Maddox. That'll get you 15% off. I've been using their protein for the past like 2-3 years, and it is like the best tasting protein powder that you can get. They also have some other good products like EAAs, all that kind of good stuff. So I will have the links to those in the description. So if you're wanting to stock up and if you want to support the channel and support me in general, that would mean more to me than you understand. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. God bless you, and I will see you in the next one.